Today I'm going to show you how to install the Ionic 4-inch curve stainless steel Nerf bars on this 2019 new body style Ram 1500 crew cab. Let's go ahead and get started. So now we're underneath our truck on our driver's side. Now we have our truck up on a lift. You certainly don't need a lift to do this installation. We just want to make sure that you can see everything that we're doing clearly. But again, we're on our driver's side, right underneath our driver's side door. We are closest to our front tire, and you're going to see a set of 3 studs. Now, if these studs are painted, you're going to need to clean those off. I would recommend using a die out of a tap and die set. It's going to be an M8 by 1.25. What you're going to do is just thread that on until all this paint is cleared off. You're going to do that on all your studs, and then you want to take one of your nuts and make sure that it threads on nice and easy, just like that, on each stud before you put your brackets on. Once you have that done, you're going to grab one of your brackets. Now you're going to have 6 in your kit, 3 for the passenger and 3 for the driver's side. They're all going to be the same, so don't worry about which one you grab, just grab one of those. The plate that has the 5 elongated holes on it is going to be what attaches to our truck here. And then we're just going to fit that right over our studs. On our front mounting location, you're going to see the 2 bottom studs are going to line up with the holes at the bottom. The top stud is going to be in our far left hole at the top here. When we get that on, we're going to use a washer on each stud. And then we're going to use a locking nut as well. We're just going to leave those loose for right now. Now we're going to move down our frame and we're going to come to our middle set of studs. We're going to take another mounting bracket, fit that over our studs. You'll notice this time that the top stud is going to line up to the middle hole. And then again, we're going to use a flat washer on each of our studs. And then we're going to also use our locking nuts. And again, we're just going to leave those loose for right now. Now we're going to move along our frame again, this time to our last set of studs. Going to grab a mounting bracket, fit that over the top. Again, you'll notice that the top stud is back on the furthest left hole. And then we're going to use our flat washers, again, over each stud. And then our locking nuts. And again, we're just going to leave that loose for right now, and then we're going to put our board onto our brackets. Next, we're going to grab our driver's side board. If we flip it to the back side, you can see that there should be 2 holes that are right on top of each other. There's going to be 3 sets of those going down the board. They're going to have threaded inserts. Those are going to fit to the 2 slotted holes on our bracket. And if we flip it over to the top and we look at our step pads, this is what's going to tell us if this is our passenger and driver's side board. So at the front, you want to have a smaller gap in between the end of the step pad and the end of the board. You want the smaller gap to be at the front, larger gap at the rear. So once we have the correct board, we're just going to set that onto our brackets like that, line up our holes, and then we can thread our provided hardware from the bottom into the board. Next, we're going to take our provided bolt with lock washer and flat washer and thread that up through our bracket into the bottom of our board. We're just going to leave that hand tight for right now. Do that on both holes. And then we can move on to our next bracket. Now we're at our center bracket, and again we're going to do the same thing, provided hardware through the bottom of our bracket into our board. And leaving that hand tight. If you have trouble threading it in, you can go ahead and just move your bracket around a little bit. That's why we left it loose up top. But you should be able to get them both in. And we'll move to the back bracket. Now at our last bracket, we're going to do the same thing, provide the hardware threaded through the bottom. And then this time, since we have all of our bolts in, we can go ahead and start tightening stuff down. So I'm going to start with the rear bracket. I'm going to use a 13 millimeter and tighten our 2 bolts to tighten our board to our bracket. Now on these, you just want to really snug them up. You don't want to go too tight on them because we don't want to rip the threads out of our board. Now we can tighten up our center bracket. Now we're at our front bracket, and again we're going to tighten our 2 bolts that go to our board. And now that all of our bolts that are going to our board have been tightened, we can go back through and tighten up all of our brackets to our truck. We're going to start at our front bracket, again using our 13 millimeter. Now on these studs, you don't want to go too tight on these either because we don't want to rip these studs out of the truck. So make sure you just snug those up. Now we're at our center bracket. And again, using our 13 millimeter, we're going to tighten up our 3 nuts. Now we're at our rear bracket, and again, using our 13 millimeter, tighten up our 3 nuts. Then you're going to go ahead and repeat all those steps on the passenger side. That completes the installation. If you have any questions, give us a call or visit us online.